Hello, it's your boss. You are back with your mate Legions of Caesar, and today is my 6th online Total War battle as a complete online Total War noob. And if you watched my previous video, you would have seen how happy, ecstatic, delighted I was that I got my win. So that puts my record now as a noob at 2-3. So the takeaways that I took from the previous battle is that I generally do better with high endurance factions. So I previously played with the dwarves, so I had a front line which was able to hold, and I could manage my battle plan around that front line. And my other win came with the lizard men, which I think is just proving the theory that having that strong front line and the high endurance, it just suits my playstyle. And so for this time I've decided to flip the script and play as the Tomb Kings, just because, one, why not, but two, and probably the most important one, Tomb Kings are pretty cool, right? I mean, they've got the Tomb Scorpions, they've got the Sphinx, they've got the Hero Titans, so they're a pretty badass faction. And in this battle I'm going to be playing against the Greenskins, which is a faction which I am terrible at while I'm playing with myself, so let's have a look how we get on.
Okay, as always, let's start this off by looking at some army comp. I have 2 units of skeleton archers along with some blessed legion of factor, let's go with that. 2 units of skeleton spearmen on my flanks, some skeleton warriors and Nehekara warriors in the center. I am flanked by a couple units of sepulchral stalkers. I have 2 tomb scorpions. I have a tomb guard and skeleton spearman in reserve. A tomb prince for some melee skills, and the big man, Grand Hierophant Katet. Let's go with that. Let's just leave that there. Alright, a very nicely arranged army from my opposition today. Gotta admire the aesthetics of his setup. So we have goblins on the wings, 2 units of nasty skulkers, and in the centre some night goblins. Behind them we have 2 units of Black Orcs, obviously very elite infantry, along with some Crimson Killers Black Orcs. Behind them some Night Goblin Archers, some more goblins at the far back. Over here we have a Doom Diver Catapult. For cavalry we have Orc Boy Biggins, 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, some Goblin Spider Riders with arrows and bows, and then as a lord we have the big man, Azag the Slaughterer, just chilling, just having a good time. Bless him. Doesn't really look like he's having a good time, to be fair, but let's just say that he is. He's about to go to war. He looks like he enjoyed war. Alright, so my army moving to the top of the hill. At this point in time most of his units were invisible. I didn't know they were there. His cav have started moving, so they have unshown themselves. And these catapults now firing. Gosh, doing some damage into my blessed archers. Now I was a bit rushed in the army comp, to be honest. My opponent did choose quite quickly, hence why there's some interesting picks, and I don't normally add experience units to my army. Cavalry already on the move. It's starting to flank my 2 units of archers. I couldn't see much of his army so far. This is all that I could really see, the goblins, so I thought I'd try and get some cheeky shots on those guys, along with his general. Now you can see I've already split up my archers and they're not focusing fire, so I think that was a mistake that I made at the start of the battle. Oh, we can see some Black Orcs now, so we're going to be firing on these bad boys. A particularly cool unit, actually. Now these guys are armoured, so it probably wasn't a good idea to be doing non-armour piercing, but his general is now flown in. He is now slaughtering my archers, but I was fixing him. Kartep, firing, doing some damage, forcing him to run away. Now I was very slow to notice that these Spider Riders were flanking me. I saw them coming on this side, so I moved the spearman unit over. But as for them flanking all the way around, they're getting right in behind me, and I didn't realise that. So you can see my archers getting seriously chewed up. They didn't do particularly well. when they got attacked by their general, but their general took a fair amount of damage, so I suppose it wasn't the end of the world. Fitness is still oblivious to me that these two units were here. Kartep still firing. I don't think I actually realised he was a ranged unit at this point in the battle, so I didn't know he was actually firing. Probably would have focused on something else other than these archers. And I certainly didn't know that these two were right in behind me, this far in behind me. So these guys are going for a charge. Looks like they're going for my sepulchral stalkers. Too stalkerish at the moment. They're stood very still. Seems like to be quite a nasty charge from the guys. Nasty charge indeed. Oh, I saw just at the nick of time. Probably too late to actually make any difference, but bringing over these Tomb Guard as well. So Tomb Guard, good infantry, but these Spider Riders are out of there. They're not going to stick around. So I am losing the range battle now. Nearly got 2 units of archers absolutely destroyed. I brought the 3rd one over just to try and even up the odds a little bit. But at the moment I'm very much fighting the battle that he wants me to fight. He's dictating all the moves and I'm simply reacting to them. See, look, he's wizard now just flying around with impunity around my army. Got rid of 1 unit of archers. 2nd one is on its way. Bringing over these spearmen here just to try and deter these Spider Riders. Spider Riders really good at this actually, particularly fast cav, and they're cheap, so if you lose them it's not the end of the world. Now, so he has some missile cav on this wing, and I've got nothing to return fire with, so I'm just moving back to a more defensive position, just trying to save my more valuable sepulchral stalkers. And as you can see here, I basically have no shape or no formation. Now this is what I meant when I'm talking about singing from his hymn sheet. He's very much dictating this battle at this moment, and I am simply just reacting to it. A lot of his army, I believe, was still hidden. Orcs aren't hidden. Probably not hidden. Okay, not so much in that case. So less of a reason for, well, less of an excuse for myself. So my range units at this point are very nearly done, which meant that I knew that I couldn't just stand and trade. Something had to change at this point, and I knew that something had to change quite dramatically, just because I'm getting chewed up here, as you can see. Over here again, these cav just skirmishing my skeleton spearmen, nothing I can do about it there. He still has these guys in behind. I tried to get a sneaky charge on them, so I was taking my skeleton spearmen and my stalkers, but he saw that and moved those guys. And now my lord also facing missile fire. Right, so something has to change. Clearly the plan which I was going into this battle with isn't going to work at this point. And it looks, oh nice. So his entire army is now on the move. It looks like they're pressing forward. Go on, guys. Despite the few remaining archers that I have. Okay, so this is when I decided that enough is enough. I really need to change up my tactics, because this clearly is not working. So, bringing these guys back. Trying to reform a line here. He's got some Black Orcs charging forward, which is obviously going to be very bad for my Tomb Guard. And Tomb Guard is one of the better infantry that I have, but they're not going to do well there. So, just to try to give him a bit of help. Tomb Scorpion's coming in, and as is his general. It is an interesting fight. Certainly the Tomb Scorpion's going to help even things up. I brought over a 2nd Tomb Scorpion just to try and catch his general, but didn't get there in time. So I formed up a 2nd line here just to be wary of his cav, but clearly I didn't realise his cav was actually nowhere near the battle at this stage. So, Tomb Scorpion going to fly into those nasty stalkers, so they're not going to do too well. His general, he's been a nuisance. He's been getting around quite a lot, doing a fair bit of damage, even though he hasn't got much health. So he's been handling his general very well, and that's something that I'm particularly poor. So now I can see the problem. I've got massive holes for me in my line. There's only so much Tomb Scorpions can do for me. So these 3 units of infantry, which I have remaining, skeleton spearmen, now moving them forward. Along with my Tomb Prince, I'm going to need his melee skill. So my Tomb Scorpion nearly got rid of these Black Orcs. He's against some anti-large goblins, so I'm pulling him out there now as well. Try and fire him into these Black Orcs. So my Skeleton Spearmen now being charged by Orc Boar Boy Biggins, so that's a good one for me. I was able to get my Stalkers out of there. And as you can see, he is making a plea for my general. He's flying in with his general and he's bringing in these Cav. But I have my Ushabti, so let's summon these guys up. So that was quite a nasty surprise from my opponent there. He did really well actually in separating and attacking my general, but my Ushabti coming in just in the nick of time and forcing his general to retreat. So I tried to get my Tomb Prince over there as well, but didn't have enough time for that. So these Black Orcs are not done, but talking about not done, that's not the case with my 2 Tomb Scorpions. These Crimson Killers have done exceptionally well against 2 Tomb Scorpions. Alright, so Cav routed, Sepulchre Stalkers, that's what I brought you guys for. Get rid of a large. Now it's time for these guys to get into the battle and start acting aggressively. So I'm starting to win pockets of the battle. My Tomb Prince coming over the Black Orcs. Ushabti now charging forward. My Tomb Scorpions are very much holding up the centre on their own. Doing okay over here, although we're getting charged by the Night Goblins, so they're going to do me some damage. General again just flying around being an absolute bloody nuisance. He was really annoying. My opponent did manage his general exceptionally well actually. Now these Sepulchre Stalkers could probably actually get into the fight. I think I'm being too fancy with these guys. Should have actually just got them in and started helping out some of my infantry. So that was a mistake from me. Tomb Scorpion coming over to try and help my general, but again, he got his general out just in time and was able to get that charge bonus. Tomb Scorpion helping out my infantry. Get stuck in, son. Well done. Flying some goblins. Alright, so it's... Well, the balance of power is still even. It's not looking great for myself. Not too many troops left. Although I do have my Tomb Scorpions. I've got a Tomb Prince. General again running away. Sepulchre Stalkers now charging. Trying to make themselves useful. He does still have a full unit of Black Orcs. These nasty Stalkers, I'm not going to do too much against these Stalkers. But at this stage, as you can see, I've not got much left. General very nearly dead. I've got 2 Tomb Scorpions. Stalkers have been surrounded, they're not going to do too much. So let's just start to make this go a bit faster. Just trying to bring my... Oh, there he is. General dead. What's that? Is that a body? Where's the body? No, he's just a casket. Oh, he's a mummy, I suppose. Alright, so just my 2 Tomb Scorpions now and my Tomb Prince. So that's how this one went. Unfortunately for me, some errors again in my play, which seems to be a common theme, but we'll sort that out after. Let's review it properly. And a valiant defeat. Potentially, depends how you look at it, I guess. Katep, 63 kills. Skeleton Warrior's doing alright, 47, that's not too bad at all. Stalkers actually got 70 and 26, so even though I didn't use them particularly well, I don't think, still doing alright, but ultimately the majority of my kills came from my 2 Tomb Scorpions, which is probably not too surprising when you actually looked at the comp of my army, but those guys really held the centre for me for quite a long time. But if we look at the opposition, Doom Diver Catapult, 196. Bloody hell, I had no idea that was going to be that high. Jesus. Well, that's quite eye-opening, actually. I didn't realise that could be so much damage could have been done. You think of 200 over 958 troops. Basically 20% of my army was killed by his catapult alone. That's pretty crazy. Who else did well? Quite spread out. Nasty Skulkers, 50 kills. Night Goblins, 79. They did very well. Black Orcs, 85. His Crimson Killers, even though only got 24 kills, they were basically fighting two Tomb Scorpions for a lot of it, so they did very well. Black Orcs, 61 kills without taking any losses looking at that. And these two Night Goblin Archers also doing a damn fine job.
So that was battle number 6, and that puts my record back to 2-4, which is disappointing, especially after I got my win in the previous one. But as far as my performance goes, it was very reminiscent of the 3 spankings that I got previously. Number 1, I'm doing a very poor job, very poor job of protecting my Lord. My opponents are finding it very easy just to be able to pick off my Lord, separate him from my army, and I am not micromanaging my Lord well enough to know that he is in serious trouble. So that mistake has cropped up again. And talking of cropping up again, I am being extremely reactive in these battles that I'm losing. The opponent is always dictating the pace of the battle. He's always making the moves first, and I am simply reacting to them. And I am reacting to them in the ways that my opponent is clearly wanting to, because their game plans are working out. So as far as the takeaways from me when playing against more experienced opponents than myself, being able to separate my general and dictating the pace of the battle is really a weakness for me, which I need to improve on. But guys, this is Legions of Caesar. Thank you very much for watching. Next time you want to see me trying to address these issues, and if you want to follow along, I am on all social media. So like, comment, subscribe, follow, do what it is that you've got to do. You'll find me on it. This is Legions of Caesar. See you again next time.